In this case brief, we're discussing the disappearance of Elijah View from Two Rivers, Wisconsin. Elijah View is 3 years old, and he is described by family and by neighbors who came in contact with Elijah as having an infectious laugh and a goofy personality that always seemed to make people smile. Elijah is an adorable little boy who seemed to have quite a big personality. And the people who knew him and came in contact with him are so concerned and disturbed by the information that has came out since his disappearance. Elijah View's mother is in custody, and so is what is alleged to be her boyfriend, even though the relationship goes back quite a ways and has an interesting history. So I'm not going to just call him her boyfriend, but we will refer to him by his name most times. However, many reports do call him her boyfriend, and I believe that's an easy inference based off of the information that has come out through court documents and statements by family and friends, but I believe that this could be a convoluted situation. However, we'll start from the beginning. So Elijah View was being babysat by a man named Jesse Vang, the man that most media outlets are calling Katrina Baur's boyfriend. Katrina Baur is the mother of Elijah View. On the morning of February 20th, Jesse Vang called 911 and reported that a 3-year-old boy he was babysitting had disappeared from his residence. And, well, currently he's living in a cell, but he typically lives in an apartment, and that is where he reported Elijah missing from. Initially, an Amber Alert was issued for Elijah's disappearance. Police were going off of what they were told, that Jesse had locked the door and he didn't think Elijah could get out. That all seemed to quickly be disbelieved by law enforcement. Not the part about Elijah being able to get out of the residence, the apartment, but the details, the story, the narrative that he was being told, that law enforcement were being told about Elijah's disappearance and what actually happened. Soon law enforcement would learn that Jesse Vang was not just babysitting Elijah, that he was actually taking care of Elijah for various periods throughout February at the request of Elijah's mother, Katrina Baur, who requested that he help discipline Elijah. According to documents, Katrina Baur alleged in 2015, let's go way back before Elijah's disappearance, that Jesse Vang assaulted her and claimed she was his property. That assault allegation gave insight to the people that surround Elijah, including his father, Jimmy View, who is currently also serving time in prison for multiple unrelated charges, one of those charges being the mistreatment of a child. Documents from 2016 portray Jesse Vang and Jimmy View as well-known associates, and Katrina Baur as being part of their activities, sometimes appearing as a victim to a possible trafficking situation. Now, the reason why I insert that historic detail right in the middle of telling you Elijah's story is because it paints a clearer picture. You have Katrina Baur, who is Elijah's mother. You have Jesse Vang, who is the alleged boyfriend, but again, as I just read you, they have a very disturbing history together. So it helps paint that picture of who everyone is. And then Elijah's biological father, Jimmy View, is also in the middle of this entire situation as a prior associate to both Jesse Vang and then the father of Katrina Baur's child, who is now missing. Documents claim that Katrina Baur left Elijah in the care of Jesse Vang during the month of February at various times to assist Katrina Baur with disciplining Elijah. The criminal complaint against Katrina Baur and Jesse details very disturbing evidence and behavior by both defendants. Now, meanwhile, Neither Katrina or Jesse have provided any information to law enforcement that would assist in finding the actual whereabouts of Elijah. Both Jesse and Katrina are being held in custody and have been since February, when charges were originally filed against them for the chronic neglect of a child. The community of and Elijah's family have all rallied to raise awareness and conduct searches. There have been so many searches for days, for months on end. The family has also asked the judge overseeing the criminal case to keep Katrina Baur in custody. They are furious that she has provided no details about where her child is, with this very flimsy story from a man who she essentially handed Elijah over to discipline. And in court documents, she allegedly said to teach him how to be a man. He's 3. Evidence collected against Katrina Baur and Jesse Vang detail a pattern of abuse, neglect, and not only against Elijah. The actions taken against Elijah include using cold water, forcing Elijah to stay in certain positions like praying positions for lengthy periods, hours at a time, and restricting Elijah's access to his mother. That's one part of the complaint that I think has been widely overlooked. Not only were they using these tactics on his behavior, but on top of that, they were also making sure that he did not have access to Katrina during this discipline. Investigators also claim to have uncovered photos that show the condition of Elijah shortly before his disappearance, claiming that he was bruised, he was blindfolded, and the details in the documents do not make it sound very good for Elijah. Both Baur and Vang have entered a plea of not guilty. Jimmy View was incarcerated before Elijah's disappearance. He is not expected or suspected of having any involvement here. Now, amid the tragic circumstances that surround the search for Elijah, the community and family remain determined to find him. They have expressed their worry, their pain, and their gratitude during the search and pending criminal charges against Elijah's mother and Jesse Vang. Now, if you have any information that you can share with law enforcement about his disappearance, there are certain details you can look out for. You can contact them with those details at 844-267-6648. One of the things you can look out for is available on our website at the morning feed. If you go over to Elijah's missing case file, you'll be able to see some photos of a vehicle. I'm going to bring those photos up right now. There you go. That vehicle is sought by police, but not the vehicle itself. The vehicle itself has already been in police custody. They know who the owner is, but they're looking for the movements of that vehicle. So, specifically between the hours of 2 p.m. and 9 p.m., but let's just say on February 19th. If you saw this vehicle February 19th or 20th, we'll just say both days, but specifically the 19th, if you saw this vehicle in Two Rivers or in the Manitowoc County area, please contact law enforcement and let them know where you saw them. There's some very significant rust to the bottom driver's side of the vehicle. Not as much rust on the other side, but it's a 1997 beige Nissan Altima, and it could be connected to the location of where Elijah is. It could help investigators find where he is. Also, this is our case file. I'll go ahead and scroll to the top. We have Elijah's photo at the top, Two Rivers Police Department's phone number for tips and information. We also have a case brief here, some searches that have already been done, such as the area of Shodo, East Twin River, Charles and Winifred Spring Westtown River Reserve, Highway 10 near White Claw and Reedsville, Calumet County Landfill, manhole searches, aerial searches. They have also searched the Avery Salvage Yard, Waterways were searched with kayaks and sonar equipment. They've also had a 70-team drone search in the area. Tons has been done to look for Elijah. There has been no shortage of effort by law enforcement, the community, or other departments in their local government to help find Elijah by making sure that the funding is there and that the help that they need would be available to them. So there's been a huge, huge effort. So let's go over a quick timeline and then we'll cover some court documents. And after that, we will be back. We'll make an Elijah View playlist. If you're listening on YouTube, you'll be able to follow along through the playlist and see any updates that we have on the case. And otherwise, you can just check our feed for updates. We will be giving updates as the court process goes forward, or if there is any information that we can possibly share to further the search for Elijah. So on February 14th is when law enforcement alleged that Katrina Baur had a late night meetup with Jesse Vang, and she snapped a photo that night that she later deleted. The photo was of Elijah. He was blindfolded and he had possible injuries to his jaw, neck, and arm. On February the 16th, there was another late night meetup. The criminal complaint alleges that Katrina and Jesse met up in the Manitowoc area around 11 p.m. and just before heading to Vang's apartment around midnight back in Two Rivers. About a half hour later, around 12:30, both Katrina and Jesse headed back to Manitowoc just before 1 a.m. The two briefly went in two different directions. Jesse went to a bar and Katrina visited a convenience store. Katrina and Jesse then returned to the Two Rivers apartment, and Katrina left sometime later that morning. During this time frame of February 16th, 2024, Katrina's other child was being cared for by an individual in Wisconsin Dells. On February the 20th at 10:59 a.m., Jesse Vang makes a call to 911 to report Elijah missing. That day, an Amber Alert was issued. And on February 21st, the next day, family and the community near the residence of Jesse Vang continued searching for Elijah by knocking on doors, calling his name, searching nearby areas, doing all the typical things you would do when a child is initially missing. On February 22nd, the FBI begins a search of the landfill at Calumet County Landfill. I think that was the first indication to everyone that there was a big problem here, and law enforcement already had information that something was very wrong. On February 26th, charges were filed against Jesse Vang and Katrina Baur. Chronic neglect of a child was the most noticeable charge. Resisting or obstructing an officer was also charged against Katrina Baur. A criminal complaint against both of them was filed, and on March 5th, police started to seek any footage from the public of that Nissan Altima. By March 18th, Elijah View's blanket was confirmed to be found on Goodwin Road in Two Rivers, Wisconsin, just a few miles from Jesse Vang's apartment. The location of the blanket was just east of County Road B there on Goodwin Road. On March 19th, there was an amended criminal complaint against Jesse Vang, so they added to the original criminal complaint. On April the 8th, waterways were searched. On April the 30th, Katrina Baur was denied a bail modification where she was basically seeking to be able to get out of jail without having to pay any money. On May 23rd is when the 70-team drone search was conducted. Now, right under that timeline on our website, we also have down here some other helpful links to Elijah View's case file for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, where you can also get a flyer. You can also donate to the search for Elijah View. The official link to donate to that search is listed here as well, and a link to the official Facebook group if you want to join for more official information from people who are managing and moderating that, who are aware of the details. So that's all the basic information. Now, over here in the criminal complaint, it states that on February 20th, 2024, the Two Rivers Police Department was notified by dispatch that Jesse Vang called 911 at 10:59 a.m., reporting that he was babysitting a 3-year-old child. Jesse Vang reported that while watching the child, he fell asleep. When he woke up, the child was missing. Law enforcement responded to the Vang residence in Two Rivers and attempted to locate the child. Law enforcement has been unsuccessful in locating the child as of March 18th, 2024. So the Two Rivers Police Department spoke with Vang at the residence of his apartment. He said he is in a relationship with the child's mother, Katrina Baur, and Vang stated that the child has been staying with him recently. Vang stated that he has been trying to help Baur correct the child's bad behaviors. Vang stated that he has been assisting with the care of the child for approximately 1 month, but not continuously. Vang stated that on today's date, which was February 20th, he woke up with his autistic teenage son. Vang helped his son with getting on the bus approximately at 7:30 and stated that the child was still asleep, referring to Elijah, after he walked his son out to the bus. Vang stated that he woke up Elijah at 8 o'clock, brought him into the bedroom with him. Vang stated that he shut the door and Vang fell asleep. Vang stated that he woke up at approximately 11 o'clock and found that Elijah was gone. Vang stated that he called 911 to report Elijah missing. Now, another detective spoke with Baur and Katrina Baur. It just states her as Baur in this criminal complaint, and stated that Elijah has been in the care of Jesse Vang for approximately 1 week. Baur resides in the Wisconsin Dells area. She stated that she dropped off Elijah with Jesse Vang on February the 12th, and she intended on Elijah coming back to Wisconsin Dells on Friday, February 23rd. So just 3 days. He disappeared 3 days before he was supposed to be going back with Katrina. DCI agent Neil Lofi did speak with Katrina Baur and denied that she was in the Manitowoc area on February 16th through the 17th. This becomes important. Now, the detective is aware that the pursuant search warrants, law enforcement did conduct forensic extractions of Jesse Vang and Katrina Baur's cell phones after they were consensually turned over to law enforcement. Based on the analysis of these cell phones, specific location data obtained, that law enforcement obtained information that contradicted Katrina Baur's statements that she had not been in Manitowoc on February 16th and 17th. Law enforcement located messages from Vang to Baur at approximately 6:39 p.m. On February 17th, where Vang tells Baur that he is angry that Elijah overfilled his diaper with what you overfill your diaper with, and that Vang gave Elijah a cold shower. Vang noted that Elijah was clean but scared. Glaser spoke with Katrina Baur, and she stated that Vang was the enforcer of the rules in the relationship, and that was the reason for sending Elijah to stay with Vang. Okay, I'm just going to keep reading right now. She discussed with him the limits of what discipline she did not want used. Other than that, she is fine with whatever discipline Vang enforces. She gave examples of discipline including praying, saying he was sorry, and going over 4 rules that Elijah is supposed to be memorizing. At no point did she admit she was in the city of Two Rivers between February 12th and February 20th, or had any face-to-face contact with Elijah. She said that she was discussing behavior issues with Vang around Thanksgiving of 2023, and he said she needed to try harder to stop the behavior. Baur stated that she wanted Vang to teach Elijah, by example, how to be a man. She said the first time Elijah had gone to stay with Vang without her was in January of 2024. She said that the past week was the longest time Elijah had ever stayed with Vang without her being there. The detective said that while talking about this past week, she admitted she had been in Two Rivers on February 16th. She said she left Wisconsin Dells around 6 or 7 p.m. and she arrived in Two Rivers late at night. She saw Elijah on the couch, but he was tired. She said she left early in the morning on February 17th. She was confronted about being in Two Rivers on a different day, and she did admit that she was in Two Rivers on February 14th for a period of time and then went back home. Vang consented to meeting with law enforcement and agreed to a consensual interview. During the course of the interview conducted by Detective Michael Harmon of the Manitowoc County Sheriff's Office, Detective Harmon also spoke with Jesse Vang at the apartment prior to going to the Two Rivers Police Department. Vang made consensual statements in regards to his recent interactions with Elijah. Vang stated that Elijah is afraid of him, then corrected himself and stated that he respects me. He stated that he would put Elijah in a place as punishment for his behavior. They would make him understand that going home is a privilege. And again, that goes back to me saying he was being kept away from Katrina, access to her. It's a tactic. Vang indicated that he is trying to make him understand that going home is a privilege. He explained that Elijah has been living with him on and off for about 3 weeks. He stated that the main punishment was to stand in a corner and face the wall and pray. For 2 weeks, Elijah would pray. This week, he was having him say, "I'm sorry, Mommy." Vang stated that Elijah was disciplined using timeouts. He described one timeout as being standing for a period of 1 to 3 hours. During this time, Elijah was required to pray or say, "I'm sorry, Mommy." This isn't discipline, it's conditioning. Vang reported that Elijah was in a timeout for the majority of this time with Vang, as it intended as a form of boot camp. Again, he's 3. Other than getting into things, Vang was unable to identify any specific bad behaviors which required these timeouts. Vang also reported to law enforcement that Elijah is not potty trained and that he is still wearing diapers. Vang advised that he changed Elijah's diaper at least once a day. Oh my goodness. On the evening of February 19th, Vang changed Elijah's diaper prior to him going to bed at approximately 8 or 9 o'clock. He then watched Ready Player One prior to putting him to bed. He stated that Elijah was not watching the movie as Vang put him in punishment. He stated that Elijah would stand in the corner or stand by the bed by me. He gets pretty tired from, I guess, standing too. He explained he does not want to be mean to him, but he is trying to teach him to be more respectful. He asked about February 19th if he made Elijah stand, to which he replied, "Oh, yeah, probably for about 2 to 3 hours." Vang confirmed again that Elijah stands for 2 to 3 hours without sitting. In the event that Elijah tries to sit down, Vang will say, "Do you want cold water?" He then indicated he's fine. It's not like his knees are shaking or about to fall over. Oh my goodness. So on the morning of the 20th, Vang claims that he woke up at 7:30 and prepared his son for school. At that time, he saw Elijah sleeping on the futon sofa in the living room. Vang took his son to the school bus and locked the apartment door. Upon returning to the apartment, Vang found Elijah still asleep on the sofa. He woke Elijah and they ate breakfast. He reported that Elijah ate some cereal, which had frosting on one side and wheat on the other side without milk. He then went into Vang's bedroom, where Elijah was told to stand and pray near the foot of Vang's bed. He did not change Elijah's diaper as he said he was too tired. Elijah was not allowed to do fun things when he was in a timeout. When asked about any toys at the apartment, Vang reported that there was one toy which he received at Christmas. This toy was similar to a toolbox, but he was not allowed to play with it during the week of February 12th through the 20th as he was in timeout. When he said what happened if the timeout did not work with Elijah, Vang stated that he would give him an ultimatum. Vang reported that the ultimatum would usually be, do you want some cold water? Vang reported that Elijah did not like cold water, but he didn't know why. He denied following through with the ultimatums. When asked about what Elijah ate, Vang stated that pizza, noodles, cereal, similar items. He stated that Elijah was still bottle fed and he was trying to get him to eat regular food. He was unable to provide specific details as to the food. While Vang was sleeping, he would lock the door to the apartment at the knob, deadbolt, and security chain attached to the top of the door to keep Elijah from walking out of the apartment. Katrina Baur and Jesse Vang's cell phones were reviewed by law enforcement, including text and Facebook messaging. On February 13th at approximately 9:30 p.m., Katrina and Jesse begin discussing Katrina coming to Jesse's apartment for romantic reasons, we'll say. Jesse says that Katrina cannot see Elijah when she gets to the apartment and that Elijah can be placed in the bathroom while they do their thing. Approximately 10:12 p.m., Katrina sends a text message to Jesse and Elijah saying that her other child, not Elijah, and Elijah could be placed in the bathroom while they have romantic relations. At approximately 10:12, she sends a message to them saying they could sleep in the car. At approximately 11:45 p.m., he says Elijah will be put in the living room and that Katrina needs to be quiet walking through. At 12:39 a.m. on February 14th, Jesse asks Katrina to send her location so he knows when to put Elijah to sleep. They also discuss her stopping at the Quick Trip in Manitowoc while on the way. On February 14th, Katrina Baur's cell phone arrives in Two Rivers at approximately 2:27 a.m. There's Facebook messages between Baur and Vang, and at approximately 2:35 a.m., Katrina asks Jesse, "Is there a way to shut off your headlights completely?" Jesse responds, "No, cannot shut off completely." Katrina says, "I can't find the other child's cell phone, but a cop just passed by, so I want to make sure she's good." The other child, which Katrina Baur is their parent, Katrina Baur had indicated to law enforcement that child is autistic, and Katrina messaged and said, "Let me find her phone real quick because I need to have some type of sound for her." Jesse messaged, "Probably thinks someone is warming up." Katrina responded, "Not worth the risk. I'll leave it off for a bit, then turn it on again," referring to the car, saying just leave the car running. Jesse said, "Okay." She messaged and she found the phone, but it was dead. So basically, in this, they're going back and forth with messages from 10 o'clock at night until 3 o'clock in the morning because they want to have a meetup, but he doesn't want Elijah to see her. She doesn't want to have to bring her other kid in. So they eventually just leave the other kid in the car and blindfold Elijah so that they can have their little rendezvous. And initially, she denied ever doing this. Now, it's interesting that she denies this meetup because this is the same night that Katrina Baur snapped the photo that it appears that Elijah has injuries in the photo. That was February the 14th. So, as you can see, since law enforcement have already said that they are looking into the movements of this vehicle on February 19th, there's all these messages and this lead up of Elijah not appearing to look well according to documents and allegations. It's clear that law enforcement believes something has happened to Elijah that is likely fatal, and either way, Elijah still must be found. And it is good to follow this court process going forward so that we can dig into the details and see how we can educate the public in ways that can put out enough education to help people, to help others from these types of things happening. There are red flags and warning signs that can be looked for. So that's always the most important part, is trying to prevent it from happening again.